Welcome to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. I'm your host, Lily Allen Duenas. Together we'll talk about the world of yoga and we'll talk to people from around the world. Before diving into the episode, I wanted to invite you to join me for online yoga classes. I'm teaching everything from yoga for people who say they can't do yoga to strong vinyasa flows. I'd love for you to join me. I also do have some coupons to give away for new students. If you click the link in my show notes or head on over to my website, wildyogatribe.com, you'll find everything you need. And I actually just launched a new website. I would love for you to take a look and let me know your thoughts. Feel free to reach out on social media wherever makes the most sense for you. Ready to dive into the show? Let's get started. Namaste and welcome back to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. Today I am so excited to welcome Eli Marušić on to the show today. She is a yoga teacher and Ayurveda yoga specialist from Croatia. She teaches yoga at Studio One in Split, one of Croatia's first and biggest yoga schools. She is also practicing and integrating meditation and yoga nidra in her classes. Eli is also a professor at the University of Split, and she was trained in classical ballet and is also an avid sport enthusiast. Thank you so much, Eli, for being on the show today.
Thank you so much, Lily, and hello, everyone. Namaste, everyone in Croatian.
Thank you so much, Eli. And can we start off the conversation today by hearing more about how yoga first came into your life?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you so much, Lily. Over the course of time, I've been involved in many different educational systems and forms that led me to yoga as I'm practicing today. But I can tell you that, and our audience, that I've been practicing yoga forever because yoga is everything. Yoga is whatever we do, it's yoga, it's union, it's how to unite ourselves with everything, with nature, with planets, with people. But yoga came into my life as a meditation, firstly, and it was in the previous century, and it was transcendental meditation. Then I also started practicing asanas and pranayama. It was when I was in early 20s, and I had my teacher was my friend actually at the time in Croatia. There was no such an organized studio, yoga studio or center, whatever. And then slowly I started to buy books and to meet people who were involved with yoga. And I've also practiced by myself asanas and pranayama. I've bought many books. But the first book I've got in yoga was from a friend of mine. She's from Thailand. She gave me a book on yoga. And then over the course of time, I've been practicing different styles. And then I've attended here in Yoga Studio One, teacher training, 200. And then at Himalayan Institute, 300 to get 500 teacher training. And then this Ayurvedic yoga specialist training, but also many other trainings over the course of time, many trainings. This is just maybe the basics of my yoga background.
Do you remember how you first heard about yoga? Like how it first even became on your radar?
Yes, it was Yogananda's book. And and my friend, as I said.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't through seeing yoga somewhere or walking past people practicing in a park, that it just came from the books and from your friend. That's very cool.
Actually, it was a meditation part of yoga, if we can say meditation, because we can agree on the fact that when people think on yoga, they think on asanas mostly, and yoga has become a big industry. But I'm so pleased by God to be touched by yoga, firstly with meditation, because after all, yoga is a liberation path to the ultimate truth to the supreme. And so meditation is the crown of yoga. Thanks for asking me. It's always good to get to the basics. I feel very excited with talking to you, Lily, and it's always good to remember that meditation is the ultimate goal or liberation.
Yes, it is important, I think, to come back to the root of it and also to asking ourselves questions that we haven't thought about in a while, because yoga and meditation and the path of yoga has become so integrated with our daily life or with our mentality, mindset, that it's sometimes very nice to pause and question again, coming back to the root and back to how we first even got curious about this. Do you agree?
Yeah, yes, very much. So I had many teachers over the course of time, many teachers in all different kinds of areas in my life and spaces, places, and time. That led me also to one poem that I would like to read, if it is possible, right now, Lily.
Yes, we'd love to hear it.
To see a world in a grain of sand, and the heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. From Augurius of Innocence by William Blake, and these beautiful words or philosophy of William Blake motivated me also over the course of time for many years. It is a great teacher to me because I've realized that it's really possible to see a world in a grain of sand or in the tiniest, teeniest particle in this universe. Everything is all over. The eternity and infinity in every moment and in every place you are connected with. And I've been with this part of this poem in many different situations, yoga poses, even yoga poses and philosophy.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. And it is amazing to think about seeing the universe in a grain of sand and taking everything in existence and just being able to see how unified it can be, how connected also. I love in with Thich Nhat Hanh how he says you can't look at a flower without also seeing the clouds, the sky, the rain, the compost, the death and the life. There's so much in that goes into one single apple, also on our kitchen table. How many people and living creatures had to contribute to that one apple to be there for you on the table. It is like a universe in one thing. That's how I see it a bit.
Thank you, Lily, so much for sharing this. And Thich Nhat Hanh is one of my teachers, and not only mine, but he's a world teacher, and he passed away on exact date of my sister's birthday, 22nd of January this year. And he taught me and that we don't have to go to visit teacher. So he's always there. And even when he's not in this material world with us, with his material body, I can sense him even more. This is the same thing you are explaining. Yes, we can sense everything, the past and the future, here and there. It's in our consciousness and it's a beyond. So our mind is so beautiful.
Yes, of course. He was an incredible bodhisattva, and I also consider him one of my teachers. And it is amazing how prolific he was, how much he wrote, how many gifts he gave us that will continue on, his energy and his teachings, and very grateful. Who else would you consider to be your teachers, Ellie?
To start with, you are my teacher as well. You already taught me a lot, Lily. We are our own teachers. Also, people, family, and my son is my great teacher, my mother, my sister, my niece. I even have a granddaughter. I got married very young and I have a beautiful granddaughter. She's a brilliant teacher to me. She even teaches me yoga poses. She's so natural. She shows me something that I'm impressed. You can always find a teacher in yourself and wherever. A cat is my teacher, or a fish, and they're transmitting their knowledge and skills and experience via vibrations, movements, look, whatever. So I hope I've answered your question, but yes, I had, and I have many teachers.
Yeah, I love that. I love seeing the teacher in everyone and what we can learn from everyone, even the people that we find to be in conflict with us. Those can be the biggest teachers when we notice we're feeling very irritated or very challenged by someone, whether it's somebody at the bank, at the airport, or someone we work with, or a spouse of someone we know. We can be challenged by people, and it's usually those people as well that have something very profound to share with us. And I'm glad you brought up the animals as well, because I get asked a lot, why are yoga poses named after animals? The cat can be your teacher, the fish can be your teacher, just as it was the teachers for yogis thousands of years ago who were observing these creatures and how they moved and how they lived, and then embodied that energy and that intention, or that lesson as well, that lesson what that creature could teach us into a pose. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's also true for scientists and inventors, Leonardo da Vinci or Nikola Tesla. They've been observing nature because nature is a perfection, and nature is the biggest teacher. You can have all the knowledge and skills from somewhere that is beyond our intellectual mind to discuss.
So true. So, Ellie, also, how would you advise our listeners, or how do you advise your students, how they can integrate yoga more naturally in their daily lives or in the present moment?
Thank you for that beautiful and wonderful question. You are the greatest teacher for yourself. Yoga teaches us how to be conscious of all things. For instance, if you practice yoga, if you practice asanas, and you do hard trainings, and this is probably not yoga. If you do a lot of push-ups and you don't know how to make proper chaturanga with your elbows, with your shoulders, with your core, so then you can probably hurt not only your body, but you can feel exhausted and anxious and frustrated, and this is not yoga. So it is advisable to do what is in line with your needs, with your mission in this world. So how to integrate it? For instance, if I don't have much time, which I don't, then you can practice yoga, asanas and pranayamas and other limbs of yoga, like you do Tadasana and you do Samavriti with the same exhale and inhale, and be aware of your feet, your knees, your hips, your organs, your spine, to uplift your body and your spirit. And so this is just one example, but also yoga is not only on making asanas and all these limbs of yoga, but it's also self-studying, also being in connection with some good teacher, and to study yoga philosophy, maybe to do some mantras. For instance, if somebody is making you angry, if you are practicing your yoga in that moment, then you breathe. Firstly, you start to breathe and sense your breath. And then you say mantra, like it can be just counting 1, 2, 3, focusing on yourself, on your center. So nobody can make you angry then. So this is yoga. And there are so many ways of integrating yoga. It's up to you. You have to be connected to your heart. Your greatest brain or universal brain is in your heart. And our brain is very useful. Brain is very good operational tool. But if you want to decide what is your next step in your life, you should use more than your just intellectual and this regular brain, your heart brain or center. So then yoga will speak you directly. We have many yoga teachers, they're channels, they're sages, they're gurus, but we have that channel in ourselves. So that is my story from my experience.
Absolutely, yes. And I'm so glad you shared with our listeners how you also have a daily routine to improve your sense of well being and connection and to live in alignment with yoga. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ellie. And so I know you are an Ayurvedic yoga specialist. What made you passionate about diving into the world of Ayurveda? And could you also define it for our listeners?
Again, thank you for asking me that, but it's natural when someone steps into the yoga world is logically the next step because Ayurveda is a knowledge on life, Ayur is life, and Veda is knowledge. And yoga and Ayurveda are like sisters, twin sisters. There is a thin line probably, or no line for me. The science of, I would say, of being healthy, how to reestablish your health. And yoga is more or less on self-realization, but it's the same at the end. And then with Ayurveda, everything is structured the way how I organize my everyday routine with Abhyanga in the morning, with cleaning my nostrils, with doing proper pranayama, meditation. Also, how can I improve my eating? What can I and cannot eat because of my prakriti and vikriti, my nature, and these balances? And also to being able to understand my students, not only my students in yoga classes, but also my students at the university, because I've noticed how distracted they are, how poor concentration they have, and I've changed the structure of my courses thanks to Ayurveda and yoga, because yoga and Ayurveda, they changed not only me, but they also changed how I handle my courses at the university and with yoga students. For instance, today I had my class with university students and I gave them like theoretical lectures, not more than 20 minutes. And because I know they cannot absorb more than maybe 5 to 6 minutes because of global environment and these things going on and everything. Ayurveda teaches me how to adjust, how to live more in accordance with my needs and phase of my life and everything. Ayurveda is and yoga is huge, is endless, is bigger than the universe.
The science and knowledge of life itself. That's what Ayurveda translates to in Sanskrit, the science or the knowledge of life. Ellie, thank you again for sharing how Ayurveda changes your whole perspective. It changes how you see time, how you see people, how you teach your students, and how you can be more accommodating and mindful of their mental state, their energy, what they can absorb and be present with. Because, as you mentioned, these are very difficult times. So, speaking of your students, Ellie, could you tell us a little bit more about yoga in Croatia?
Yoga in Croatia is a big topic because in the previous political and economic system where I grew, born and raised, previous Yugoslavia, ex-Yugoslavia, there were no like yoga schools and studios. And I started with yoga in early 1980s and even before. And in 2005, the first yoga studio was established in Croatia. And Studio One, where I teach, is one of the oldest and biggest in Croatia, established in 2009. And today we have many yoga studios, many yoga centers, yoga schools. For me, it seems that everybody is doing yoga nowadays. So yoga is becoming more and more popular. I would even say that it's a little bit but overcrowded with yoga and yoga classes. Everybody is in yoga. Also, I have to highlight that Croatia is a very popular country, a popular destinations lately for the last 15 years. A lot of people from all over the globe are coming to Croatia to visit Croatia because of beautiful nature and heritage, culture, and nautical infrastructure and stuff like that. And also what I would like to highlight is that the Split city where I live, city of Split, is perfect to come and not only Split but Dalmatia and Croatia to practice yoga outdoor and to have retreats here because of the nature and climate is perfect.
Thank you, Ellie. And I'm so glad you talked more about Croatia being such a wonderful city to visit. I'm very excited to come visit here in just a couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to taking a nice walk with you, hopefully grabbing a coffee or tea. So I'm lucky that I get to be one of those people coming to enjoy the beauties of Croatia soon.
I'm so happy that you are going to be maybe my guest at least one day. So I'm going to show you some parts of this beautiful city. And I've forgotten to mention about yoga and about anything you do is about experience. They say that everything what we have to do in this life is to transform this experience into the wisdom. And it's also important to be aware of experience. For instance, to experience the warrior, Virabhadrasana, 1, 2, 3, humble warrior, and giving as a warrior. Who is the warrior? What do you want to experience when you put your body into the warrior asana? But not only your body, but your organs, your tissue, your bones, your mind, your spirit. And when you want to make a movement, putting your arms in a shooting position. So, what do you want to shoot? What is the mission of Virabhadrasana? So, it's about experience to transform into the wisdom and to be able, with that experience and wisdom, to transcend this realm. Because the ultimate goal that I have in my life is to be able to transcend the final step. So experience is very important and to be aware of it.
Thank you. So, Ellie, if our listeners wanted to find you or learn more about you, what's the best way they can do that?
They can leave me a message at the yoga studio, Studio One, and they can reach me via email. We can also work online classes, private classes, or in groups.
Thank you, Ellie. I'll make sure to link the information about Studio One as well as your email in the show notes so people can reach out and find you. So thank you so much, Ellie, for being with me on the show. It's been a joy to be with you.
Thank you, Lily. It was my pleasure, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. My conversation with Eli Marušić, a yoga teacher from Croatia, was so inspiring as we took a close look at how to integrate yoga into our daily lives and how to develop not just habits, but a perspective as well for how to help you be in alignment with the present moment. Thank you for listening to the Wild Yoga Tribe podcast. Be well. Remember to hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And if you feel called, please share this episode with someone you think could benefit from it. Leaving a review would also be so appreciated. Feel like getting social? Connect with the Wild Yoga Tribe and with me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you are. I would like and hope I'm there too. Head on over to thewildyogatribe.com and tap into some pretty awesome and amazing resources on my newly designed website. You can also meditate with me on Insight Timer or join me for live streamed and on-demand yoga classes on Moxie. Links are in the show notes or on my website as well. I'll see you there. Also, I just wanted to say thank you again, dear listener, for being with me. May your day be bright and light. May you be peaceful and happy and led on the right path, free of suffering and sorrow. Be well, dear one, be well.